Thank you for coming back to Simply Mums. As always, I'm Leah. I'm here to empower women, empower mothers, empower families. Before we start, please make sure you subscribe because it helps us to do more of this. And we would love it if you subscribe and share with your friends. And today, we have a guest and her name is Nina. Nina is going to introduce herself.
Hi Leah, thanks for inviting
Nina.
me on the podcast. My name's Nina Robinson and I organise a podcast festival in Birmingham in the West Midlands. It's called Uni Pod and it's for regionally based podcasters and it's about inspiring next gen talent and podcast producers to kind of, improve their podcasts and also to meet other like-minded people in the podcasting world. And it has a strong ethos and mission to diversify podcasting and to actually increase the numbers of voices that have regional accents and who from racially diverse backgrounds and people from different walks of life, to really get their voices out there and to be able to voice their opinions in the media landscape.
So Nina, tell us about, family, kids.
I have two children aged 11 and the older one just turned 19.
Wow.
So it's a big gap. Layla's at secondary school and the older one, he just started university.
Yeah. Wow, congratulations. I'm not there yet.
I know, I've passed the toddler phase.
I'll be taking notes from you. Yeah, so as you heard, Nina is a mother. She's a lecturer as well.
Well, I do have one of those certificates for teaching in higher education.
Yeah.
Because I was doing teaching at Birmingham City University after I finished working at the BBC for many, many years.
Yeah.
But I haven't been doing much lecturing for the past 3 years because I've been writing a book.
All right.
Yes.
Ooh. Coming up.
It's more of what I'm kind of looking at, which is about diversity in the UK media.
Okay.
And so it's a book that's about research into local news,
Right.
What voices that we're hearing in local news and whether we're reflecting the people who live in diverse regions of the UK.
Wow, so I'm sure when the book comes out, she'll come again and tell you more about it. So how has becoming a mother shaped the way you've managed in the corporate world and in work and all of that?
So, I became a mother quite young. So because my son I had in my 20s, and so it has shaped me for most of my life. Most of the time I've been doing it on my own. With my son, my first husband, he had leukemia and so passed away. And so that was why I, unexpectedly I found myself having to raise my son alone. But his family helped a lot. And at that time I was working at the BBC as a journalist, yes, in London. And so at the beginning it was a very difficult time. Motherhood has shaped who I am. It's taught me the most. And it's always been a part of who I am. So, and I'm so grateful for it because really, I always say this to my son, that he's the reason why I survived that grieving period.
Oh, bless.
Because I had him. And so really, it has been about, he's been a real, my children have both been a big motivator in my life. So it's made it very rich and joyful and all of those great things.
I understand. I also went through a period of single motherhood, but I know it's not easy at all.
I was so lucky to have my husband's family who really stepped in and helped a lot.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have been able to do my job without them. because at that time I just started at the World Service, and so I was having to travel abroad for weeks at a time, and so they helped look after him, and I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't have them.
Oh, bless. So was this in London?
Yeah, when I was working in London.
And you lived in Birmingham, so you were commuting?
No, so that was, I moved to Birmingham much later after the birth of my second child.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. How was that commute?
So when my daughter was born, I moved then later to Birmingham, but I was still working in London. So I was having to travel back and forth. I would generally get the coach at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and then arrive into Oxford Street at 9. Yeah. Because the coach just took so long in the traffic. But I preferred to do the coach because I could sleep on the coach.
Oh, right.
And so then I'd arrive into London and do a full day's work. But generally I tried to work Monday to Thursday.
Oh, right.
And then try and work from home 1 week in the month. And then I also took a career break just so that I could kind of spend time with my daughter. So it was a difficult time, but it was easier, I think, than what I experienced with my first child.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that was the first time I'd done everything, and it was really much more difficult emotionally as well.
Yeah.
So this with my daughter, it was a breeze. I felt like I could just do anything.
Oh, right.
I think that's what motherhood gives you. It basically makes you feel like you're a superpower. That you can do anything because you're forced into so many situations. Yeah. That, everything else just is easy.
Yeah, you can say that. I guess it gives you resilience, isn't it?
I think the other thing it gives you is some acknowledgement of time. Yeah. And how to prioritise time and be really efficient with time. Especially like when they're the toddler age, because you have such short windows in which you can have to do everything. It makes you very disciplined in terms of how much you can do, what focus that you need, and then once the child gets older, then all of a sudden you have a huge luxury of time, which you learn, you have value for because you realise because you didn't have it before, and it opens up your whole mind to the possibility of what you can do with this time.
I haven't managed to get that time yet.
Yeah, but you will.
You know what I realize is that when they're still young, as a mother, you have to put in your mind that it's not going to be for a very long time. So you have to use the time that you've got. So from 0 to 2 years, for example, now, I don't know where the time has gone for my child, and he's now 2 years. I'm like, oh my God, I slept and he's 2. Yeah. So you have to...
It's quick and it's slow.
So you have to be quite intentional with what you're doing with them, isn't it? You have to make sure that you give them the time.
And also give yourself the time.
Yeah.
But that's very difficult.
Yeah.
Because your time is just not your own.
Yeah. How did you manage burnout? When you were doing all the commuting?
I don't think you manage burnout. No. You basically just get to burnout and then have to stop. So that has really been my experience of burnout. Yeah. Is I arrive at burnout probably quite regularly.
All right.
And that's just how I operate. I mean, as I'm getting a bit older, like I do recognise in myself that I'm like, oh, I need to relax a little bit. But generally I don't, because I set myself almost impossible deadlines sometimes. And then I just have to do it and get to that point where I have to do it, which is not great. But I don't really know any other way of doing it. Yeah, or to kind of like pace myself a bit better, but I just find that I'm a very deadline driven person, and so I just don't do anything until I know that I have to do it.
Until the deadline is here, like, ooh,
honestly. It is the journalist in you, it's just about the deadline, so you just that's when you know you have to kick in and do it.
Yeah, tell me about journalism. How did you get into it?
So I never knew that I wanted to be a journalist because I didn't know anybody who was a journalist. I did politics at university, and I was always interested in politics and current affairs, and I did economics as well. And so it was actually a natural thing that I should have thought about doing.
Oh, right.
But I never did think about doing it. And it was only really because I was very into music as to how it happened. So I used to work on radio stations, and I went to work on festival radio, music festival radio. So I did at Glastonbury Festival.
Okay.
And through that love of music and, you know, doing shows based on music, that was when I kind of got into radio and radio stations, and then I was thinking, oh, how can I work in a radio station? And then there was the news desk. So oh, I can do that, you know. So then I did a course which was in South London at Lambeth College, and it only cost me £10, and then the council gave me a travel card, which was worth a lot. And so I did that for a year.
Right.
And the person that was running that course, he was actually an ex-editor of Newsbeat at Radio 1. And so then I ended up getting a job at Radio 1 because of, you know, my background experience doing festival radio and music. Kind of helped me to kind of get my foot in the door there.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting, because I do hear a few people who have done it, but they've not been able to get jobs in this country.
Yeah, so that's why, I mean, the BBC is such an important institution for being able to bring in new people, train people, have that, you know, they're the biggest employer of journalists in the UK.
Right.
And so this is why at the moment with the cuts going on, it's such a, you know, it's very, you know, it's a really not a good thing at all what is happening, because it's, if you, so now, you know, with my working with students who want to go into journalism, it's a completely different landscape.
Okay.
And so it's more about being a news influencer and content creator. So you have to be entrepreneurial, but doing all of these things together is very difficult. And often you need a training ground as well to kind of like learn the ropes and just have a steady income for a while. So I think it is really difficult at the moment for journalists coming up.
Yeah. I remember at the UniPod, they mentioned about coming from audio to video.
Yes.
So is that something they teach? Do they teach, like when you're teaching the journalists, the upcoming
So
journalists?
nowadays, if you're a journalist, you need to be more, you know, you need to know not just audio. So my I was working in audio mainly and on radio, and that was, you know, your specialism was that. Well, then later in my career, I did do TV and video and digital. But now I think you can't, you know, you definitely can't just do audio. You have to be, and that's been the case for many years.
All right. Interesting. Tell us about UniPod. How did that come about?
So UniPod came about because I went to bed one night and I was thinking about something, and then in the morning I came up, I thought, oh yes, that is a good idea, I should do that. And that is how I operate, because I remember when I was doing my A-levels, I did maths A-level, and I used to go to bed thinking about a problem, and then I would wake up in the morning and have the solution. So I think a similar thing happened with UniPod, because I'd left the BBC and I was setting up my media production company, Sound Truism, and I was just thinking about how I could kind of, I felt that there was a need for something like that in the space, because there wasn't anything. Most of the time, whenever I had to go to podcast events, I had to go to London, which was already a problem, because there was no other real events going on outside London, and they were really small. And also I have a real passion for kind of, you know, next gen talent and trying to, you know, help young people, because I was doing the teaching at that time at Birmingham City University, and I felt that there was a gap in terms of what the courses were teaching and what was needed by the professional industry. And at that time I was doing a lot of work in the professional podcast industry sector, and so I wanted to kind of bridge this gap, and the festival seemed to kind of bring all of these elements together.
Right.
But I wasn't sure whether I could do it because obviously this is the first time that I was going to be organising a big event. And but this is where people came in to support me. And I remember having one conversation with CEO of a podcast production company in London who I used to work with at One Extra. And I called him up and I said, I'm going to do this festival in Birmingham. And he was like, put me down, I'm coming. Right? And then I remember thinking, like, oh, well, that means I better do it now. Because like sometimes you just need these little spurs to kind of make it like from an idea into okay, this is happening. Yes. And for me, that was that moment.
Right. Wow. That was 4 years ago.
That was 4 years ago. So from it, over the past 4 years, it's really gone from strength to strength. Yeah. So in the first year, we didn't have any sponsors. We had partnership with Birmingham City University. But the sponsorship was only local. So Create Central at that time were on board from the beginning. But then this year, for the second year, we had BBC Sounds and Amazon Music as sponsors. And the university partner network got much bigger. So this time we had people that came not just from Birmingham universities, but there were students that came from Loughborough, from London, UCL, SOAS, and Warwick. And so it was a much wider partnership, which was really great.
Yeah, I did love it.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. It was my first time to come to that, and my friend invited me, Nina. And yeah, it was lovely because I met lots of people. I went into this podcasting world because of my husband, who is the journalist. And then I'm here, I'm like, ooh, you should be the one here. Because I was like, it actually excited my brain because I was like, oh my God, BBC, dude, all of these people are doing the same thing. And I felt like really inspired.
Yeah, that is the idea of the festival, is to really inspire people, but also to equip people with the skills and the knowledge to actually do it. Because from my point of view, I have been working in journalism and the media for many, many years, and it does tend to not be very diverse. And I think you do get the same kind of voices that are shaping our media landscape. And it's so important to have different voices and viewpoints in our media landscape. And especially now, I think it's more important. We think that now we have a very democratic media landscape because there are very low barriers to entry to coming in. Because anybody can start a podcast. Yeah. And so, you think, oh, well, then that means that there's not a problem. Anybody can do it. But actually, there are very few podcasts that have longevity and continuity and are able to kind of slowly build audience and get traction to get them to go nationwide, to go international, because this is the importance. It's like, having a podcast, not just about having a podcast, but what is the influence of that podcast? It could be a very small community, but it's kind of how, it's the importance of spreading your voices and your messages amongst your community, your audiences. Yeah. And I just think that there's not enough money and resources and knowledge that is being put into different areas. So it seems to be skewed, that money, knowledge and influence, and I'm just trying to do my little bit in my little corner to spread that out. To spread it.
All right, that makes sense. So that's why they were different, the youngsters. Yes. And
so it's a real, I think at UniPod, this festival is the most wide range of people that you're going to get, because I go to a lot of podcast events, and quite often they're the same kinds of people that go to these podcast events. And I think it doesn't need to be it shouldn't be like that, because the media is for everyone. And so it's about trying to kind of get different people together.
Wow. So when you say that there isn't a lot of money there, how does the money come about? How do you get into them?
Yeah, so I mean, there's lots of different ways. So from my experience, working at the BBC, so how to get a BBC commission, and who are studios going to invest in to make a podcast for that person, so that level, and those kinds of podcasts have certain marketing spend and advertising and platform which allow that podcast to be here, on launch.
Oh, right.
So that's it's a very the landscape, but that doesn't mean that others can't come up. So the YouTubers, so that's why this year it was a content creators festival, and I invited as the headliners to up and coming YouTubers to talk to each other about what they were learning about that platform. And so that it was M1 podcast from Manchester and Brumtown from Birmingham, and they're both doing incredible things. They have viral content which is like reaches millions of views, and yet they didn't have any form. No one told them how to do it. They were learning whilst they were doing it. So it was an opportunity for them, first of all, to talk to each other about what they'd learned, but also to share with the audience about how they did it. So
it was quite inspiring, honestly.
They were so brilliant. I mean, Brumtown, love Brumtown anyway, but he's so funny, and he's got so much like charisma, and you can tell why people love to watch his YouTube channel, because his personality is just great. And but the question that I love the most that they answered was about why there aren't more black women as YouTubers at the top of YouTube. You see black men like there's some very very successful black male podcasters, but in terms of black women there's much less. And
where are we?
And the answer that they gave was just great. Like that, they talked about how women have a harder time on the internet. They're more likely to kind of have backlash and, hurtful comments. And then also women themselves tend to be more self-critical. So that also prevents them from... so there's all these very nuanced kind of things going on that they're recognised. And also, that the internet is a very male space. So then they talked as well about the manosphere. Which I thought was brilliant that they touched on that. Because there's some of their content also pandered to some of that, because they also were, they knew that they needed to get views. So it was interesting. And unique to UniPod. Like I heard, you're not going to have that conversation anywhere else in the UK.
That was quite.
So that's what I'm trying to create with it, is like really these unique moments.
So is this going to be like an annual ongoing thing?
Well, that's the idea. Well, I thought with the first one that I wasn't going to be doing it every year, but I've just done the fourth one. So let's see, watch this space.
Oh, wow. So what are the biggest challenges you found while organising this since you started the UniPod?
So the biggest challenge is time. So that's why, motherhood has really helped my, my job now, because I am just very focused around what time I have and what I do with that time. So it really is just about that. Because I have other projects as well that I'm doing, and so I really have to just say this is the time that I have got to do this, and this is the end point, and I have to do whatever I can in the time allocated.
That's good. What about reaching out to people, getting people together? Is that all cool? Does it go just smoothly, or is there any challenges?
Nothing is ever smooth in running an event.
I know.
Nothing is ever smooth. But then, that's another thing that motherhood teaches you, isn't it? That, you know, whatever disaster happens, you deal with it and move forward.
Yeah.
So that, you know, that is, you have to do contingency planning, I would say. So I know that there are many things that could go wrong. So what would I do if this happened? What would I do if this happened? And just have like a few backup options. And it helps that because it's me, I could step in and do that job. If that person didn't come, I could probably do it. And if worse comes to worse, you know. But generally, I just try and find other people that make sure
things are done. So what does success look like for you for UniPod?
Success for me is just to have as many people as possible who can benefit from what is there. I mean, first of all, I would, because I do have to like set out what the objectives are, right? And sometimes it's like, oh, is it audience reach? How many people are going to get, you know, have the content? Because last year I was going to have live streaming, right? And so that was an objective where I was thinking, oh, is that the idea, to just reach people? But I decided not to do it because I realised my only more important objective was for people to feel connected, and to actually the people who did make the effort to come, because it was about being an in-person event, and to really feel, you know, to take the full benefit of the collaboration, the people that you could meet, and being in that environment where you could really feel inspired, rather than it being something where I'm just going to learn this skill, you know. Anyway, so for me, the success is, you know, what are people going away with? How does it affect them? You know?
Since you've done all of this, you know, brought your dream to fruition, what advice would you give to a woman who has a big dream but doesn't know how to take the first step?
It's all about starting. It's all about just starting. So whenever somebody, because I advise a lot of people on podcasts and podcast production, and they'll come with lots of different questions. Oh, well, I need to have this done and this done and this done and this done. And I was like, you don't have to have anything done. Just do it, you know. Just start it. And however messy or not professional it is, you just have to start it. And I think that is the same with any project, because I'm guilty of that. So there's so many projects that I have wanted to get started on. And then I'll be like, oh, well, I need to do this first, or I need to do that first. And then it didn't happen. And I just think you need to reach out to people and say that this is what you want to do. So then you have the intention, you said it out loud and you told somebody. But then who are you telling? Don't just say it and talk it into the ether. Actually say it to the person who is going to help you or support you, or be the person that makes you think, oh, now this, I have to do it, you know? So it really is about starting.
Wow.
You know, however, whatever that looks like.
Okay. What about those moments when you're feeling self-doubt?
Oh, I know, yes, self-doubt. Everybody has. But I think you just have to realize everybody has self-doubt. Everybody has self-doubt. And it's okay, because at the end of the day, we're just going to die, so it doesn't matter anyway. So why not just try? You know?
Yeah, I guess.
And also self-doubt, what is the worst that can happen? You know, because, oh my God, I've had so much self-doubt. I cannot tell you how much self-doubt I have, you know. But it's normal. It's normal. But you just don't let it become everything. You know, just at the end of the day, you just got to do it.
So basically,
just or even just acknowledge that, okay, you're going to have self-doubt, and it's part of the process. Okay, so those times or those moments like 4:00 in the morning when it's like, oh God, you know, that's fine. But then wake up the next day, or give yourself a bit of time and space and come out of it. But it's just realising, like, this is part of the process. I'm going to feel it. but it's not going to affect me. I'm just you're just going to carry on.
Yeah.
Because we all have it.
Yeah, everyone has self-doubt or thinks, oh, am I really going to go through with this, or can I do it? But like Nina said, just go through with it. So if you have a big dream, you have a big idea that you want to start, let this be your sign from the universe, or whatever you call it. This is your sign to start that project or that dream that you've been thinking about. Okay. And like Nina said, in terms of self-doubt, just don't listen to it. Keep going. There is light at the end of the other tunnel. So I always think about legacy in everything that I'm doing. And it does look like it's the same for you. So for UniPod Festival, what legacy do you feel like you want to leave?
I think it's just that the people who attend and get something out of it, take it with them forward. It's always in people. So that's what you could say is the connection with motherhood. Motherhood is also about legacy.
Yeah.
And that's why there's so much kind of fulfillment in doing something like that, because you're not doing it just for you for that moment. It's something that could kind of, it stays with others. So when you're not there, and I think this has got to do with, if you have experienced loss in terms of grief, that you've lost someone, that does, you realise that. And even though it was terrible that I had to feel that in my, early 20s, that really has taught me a lot, about the value of life and about, what does happen, when you're not here anymore.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives you a different perspective.
Yeah, I agree. Let's do a quick fire round. 3 words that describe motherhood.
3 words are home, because I feel when I'm with my kids, that is part of being home, and whereas there is security and safety, and that is everything home to me. The second word would be personal growth, because but my kids have taught me more about myself than anything like degrees, postgraduate degrees, whatever I've learned from teachers and professors. My kids have taught me the most.
True.
So definitely personal growth. And then the third thing about motherhood is motivation. Yeah, so it's what I said about that. It's gives me a reason. You have to wake up.
Yeah.
You have to.
Whether they like it or not.
You have to make dinner. You have to do all of these things.
Yeah.
You have to do the washing.
Yeah.
And it's good because it gives you, stability and routine and motivation to live life, and it's a fundamental thing.
Yeah.
But also it's also when my son started university, when my daughter started secondary school, the change, it kind of makes you feel at sea. These things, like from when they're a toddler, it was all consuming. And then when you don't have that anymore, you're lost. And then you're like, well, I've had those feelings where you just don't know what you're doing, like rudderless. Yeah. And I'll go through these times where I'll be like, I don't know, why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing?
Now that she's gone to secondary school, now he's gone off to uni, what do I do with myself?
Yeah, totally. It's like I felt really just like I was at sea.
Yeah.
But I think those are important moments as well, because it's about reassessment and reflection and new motivations.
Yeah.
And so that's very connected to the motherhood. The biggest thing that my kids have taught me, and in terms of personal growth, is about patience.
Okay.
Because I was never a patient person. Like, I always was like, hated waiting. Like I couldn't wait. Like for me, life was boring enough without having to also wait. And so when I had kids, and then I was like, oh my God, patience. I had to have patience.
Yeah, interesting.
And honestly, that is a big, big lesson.
Wow. I have to think about mine. I think patience is a big one. It's a big one, especially as you're going through the different stages of life. You have to learn to be patient, isn't it? To be patient with them.
Oh God, exactly.
The disciplining. When they come back home with you know, issues and stuff, and you have to listen, and you have to
listen. You have to put yourself to one side, wherever your first initial thoughts might be, to kind of say, because for me that's very difficult. Like I say what I think, and I've always been like that. But with my kids, I have to think, well, I need to think twice before I say what I think, because the impact of my words might have repercussions that I need to think about before I say it. And so that is very difficult for me, but I've had to do it.
Well done. So we move on to the person who inspired you.
There's so many people who have inspired me, Leah, because I've had the privilege of meeting so many people as a journalist all around the world, and I've met so many incredible people. So, I would say it's like older women who have done brilliant things. So I remember when I was in Southside Chicago, and I met a woman she was a teacher, and she'd set up a project which was it was a homework club. But it was so much more than a homework club, because it was about giving young people a space, somewhere else that they could kind of talk and feel safe. But also then she started doing other things like campaigning about the contamination of drinking water in her area. You know, it was all about this connection of community that she was an amazing woman. There's women like that. And then more recently, I helped Marvin Cole with her podcast, which is called Midlife Messy and Marvellous. And she interviewed Beverly Knight and Brenda Edwards. And they're both very inspiring women. So Beverly Knight, the singer who has just done amazing things in her life, but has had to overcome like these huge struggles, like, you know, being on stage and kind of, you know, it's amazing. I have to listen to her interview. She was incredibly inspiring. But also Brenda Edwards, who talked about the loss of her son, Jamal, and, you know, young guy, prime of his life, you know, that kind of loss, and that she'd managed to, against all odds, all adversity, to keep going, but not only keep going, but to be incredible, you know, like that. She was so inspiring to me. And she's also set up her son's self-belief trust as well, which is an amazing initiative that she's done to help young people, young musicians and artists in London, to give them like a place to stay, resources. They've got a podcast studio. Amazing.
I think for me, I would say someone who has inspired me, or someone I would like to host here, Michelle Obama.
Yes. Yeah, she's also amazing.
She's a wife, she's a mother, she's all of these, and she tries to do it looking cool.
With style.
But she doesn't pretend that everything is good. She says it as it is.
She's very down to earth, authentic.
Yes.
Do you listen to her podcast?
Yes.
It's so good. Yeah. She's amazing.
Yeah. A lesson you never forget?
A lesson I never forget was about when my son was about 3, and I was taking him to nursery.
Yeah.
And I was at work that day, and it was, you know, I was very stressed with work. You know, I was had a really important meeting. I was planning a trip, and I just remember being so stressed. I needed to get to work, right? And you know those days when you really need to get to work, and then the kid does pick up on that, and so he was being very, dragging his feet, getting dressed, wouldn't, come out of the house. It was like such a struggle. And I remember I was walking him to the nursery, we were talking, and then he starts saying that he hasn't got any pants on.
Oh no.
Because I was potty training him at the time, and I was like, he starts like saying, I haven't got any pants, and then I was like, oh no, we're gonna have to go home and put your pants on. And so I should be like, what am I gonna do now? He hasn't got any pants on. And then I was so like annoyed. I remember coming into the room, pulling his trousers down, and he had red pants on.
Oh, no.
And I just burst out laughing. And then, because it was so hilarious, I saw that image of him with his red pants on after all of that, and all I could do was laugh. And then he laughed, and it was and that was such a beautiful moment. And I think the lesson was, for me, whatever is going on, that you think is so important in your life, that you have so much going on, so many important meetings, whatever, but at the end of the day, what is important is just being yourself and having a laugh, because that is life, Yeah. So that was the important lesson for me.
Wow. Children.
Yes, children. Gotta love it.
Anyway, I think that's it. Is there any last words, final one that you want to tell the audience?
Well, no, just that I think that it's really important to have a podcast in the space that talks to mothers with different experiences, which is what I think that your podcast does. And because I've tried to find parenting podcasts that speak to me when I'm going through difficulties, or that I need a little bit of advice, and I haven't found it. I haven't found a podcast that speaks to my experiences. So I'm really glad that you're doing this, and thank you.
Oh, thanks. Thank you, Nina. We appreciate all the nuggets that you've shared with us. And make sure you subscribe. Until next time, bye.
Thanks for having me. Hi, and my name is Nina Robinson, and I'm a journalist, and I have a podcast production company called Sound Truism, which organises the UniPod Festival, which you can get more information at unipodfest.co.uk. I'm really happy to be on Leah's podcast, Simply Mums. Please do listen and subscribe.